Hey, this is Nicholas with Watchman Earth and Space Connection. We're going to talk about the transfer of energy that we keep talking about on the page, and I'm going to show you exactly how it works. First, we'll go ahead and read the definition and the description of it with images. The transfer of energy in an earthquake is when an earthquake occurs. When it occurs, and energy is transferred from where the rocks break and travel throughout the world. The bigger the quake, the further from the epicenter the waves will travel. There are four types of earthquake waves generated during an earthquake. They carry energy away from the earthquake epicenter. So we got body waves. So this is why you see that on the page when you see our images. You'll see body waves, surface waves. So they're the two types of seismic waves formed during great earthquakes. P waves, S waves are called body waves because they travel through the body of the earth. So here in this image you have the compression, you have the rarefaction, you have the particle motion, compressional or P wave, travel direction. So it goes straight like this. That's your P wave. Okay. Your shear and S wave basically go up and down. So when you're feeling this up and down motion with the earthquakes, you're feeling that S wave. When you're feeling the sideways, the swaying and stuff, that's your P wave. Okay. So the P wave, every earthquake creates P waves and S waves. The P waves travel away from the focus of the earthquake where the rocks first fractured by compressing and expanding the rocks as they travel through solids, liquids, and gases. P waves travel through all parts of the earth. These waves are the fastest moving waves at 8 kilometers. Okay, so the S wave travels in a motion similar to a rope held tight at one end while the other end is lifted rapidly back and forth. Okay, so that's like, one person's on the other side of a rope and then the other one's on the other side of the rope and they're just, swaying it up, up and down basically. S waves only travel through solids and do not travel through liquid outer core of the earth. These waves move at 5 kilometers. Surface waves. Body waves and surface waves are the two types of seismic waves formed during great earthquakes. When body waves reach the surface of the earth, they interact to make surface waves. There are two main surface waves. The I wave, which basically moves back and forth in the direction they are traveling. These waves are highly destructive and cause the most damage in an earthquake. These waves move at 4 kilometers. They cause the most damage at Christchurch by lifting buildings up and dropping them. That's what these I waves do. I do remember that Christchurch in New Zealand quake before. It was insane. I watched the videos. Okay, so we got the definition now. We've got an image of which way the motion is now. So now you know exactly what you're feeling here. Okay, so let's go into... let me find my stuff here. Oh. We're going to go over here. So as we know, there's been a lot of buildup in Indonesia, all the way from Sumatra all the way down. Okay, this is your ring of fire. This is your typical ring of fire. The Indo-Australian plate moves up against the Indian plate. Okay, so that's your two plates working against each other. Then what happens is you start seeing these quakes near these volcanoes. So the volcanoes start erupting, magma starts rising, starts pushing the energy towards the fault lines, these main fault lines, okay? So then you start getting up in here into the Banda Sea, the Molucca Sea, the Celeb Sea. So this is why we tell you guys, look, watch these 3 seas here. When you start seeing these earthquakes in these seas, then you're going to have to start watching for transfer of energy, okay? And it doesn't take long. You seen it was like 5 kilometers or something like that. This whole area is lighting up, okay? So the more this area goes and builds up, you're gonna see that transfer of energy moving up towards the Philippines, okay? And that's why we're seeing this. And as you could tell, the volcanoes are starting to erupt following that energy. So they're trying to release energy. At the same time, these earthquakes are trying to release energy. So there's a lot of cosmic rays, solar energy that needs to be released. So it goes into the ionosphere. I'm talking about the energy. It charges the poles. It goes down into the core of the Earth, and it heats the core of the Earth. So that energy has to go back out. The Earth always replenishes itself. That's how it recycles and cleans up the Earth. It either does lightning, which basically cleans the air up, or it does it through oceans and volcanoes and transfer of energy through earthquakes. So then it turns into gamma rays. The gamma rays go up from the Earth. That's why you see these different colors of the sky in pink, light blue, green. That's your precursor right there that there's going to be earthquakes. There's going to be, the TEC data shows that through GPS stations, satellites. Okay, so they show those colors. They show those infrared colors on the TEC maps. And then you get the blot echo maps. So the blot echo maps watch the low pressures that go around the world. And now those low pressures tell us there's going to be a lot of cosmic rays or solar energy in that particular area on those fault lines. So that's why the blot echoes are, that's what we go by with the blot echoes. We take TEC data in effect. We take all this data and we put it in the blot echo. That's why Ben made that app, and that app is available. You could go to disaster prediction app, and you could download that, and then you get all that information. Okay, we've put all the links out there where you can go. All right, so let's talk about the transfer of energy. So we've seen all this transfer of energy. So now we've got this stuff going up the main Philippine fault line here. The main Philippine plate is right here. Okay, so and then you start seeing quakes over here, up here. They go up that main fault line there. So that's why it's very important to pay attention to the TEC data. Remember, it could be 3 days, it could be 5 days, it could be 7 days from the TEC that we release. It don't have to be that same day, okay? Blot echo is 72 hours. So TEC essentially is going to line up with that blot echo. All right, so that's how the transfer of energy works. We see it going all the way up here, west of Luzon. So we have this area here. So then you start watching these volcanoes. You start watching the volcanoes. We got 2 yellow volcano alerts right here. We put the alerts on the page to show you what each alert means for the volcanoes as well. But we do, like I said, we do have that buildup right here that we're watching. So this is the type of patterns that we watch. We watch buildups. We watch transfer of energy. The third thing I'm going to talk about is the antipode energy. That's another important energy that you need to know, okay? That's the one that's your P wave. It's going to travel through the Earth, through all the liquids, okay? Liquid, solid, and gas. That's your Goldilocks system that our Earth, we live in. The only way we survive on this Earth is we have to have liquid, solid, and gas. That's what makes our Earth, our atmosphere. It's the only way that humans can live on a planet. You have to have those 3 elements. If you don't, then we won't survive. We'll be like Mars on Venus and all those other planets. They're not in the Goldilocks system. Okay, so that's why there's no living being up there that lives on Mars. Okay, unless there's Bigfoot up there. But anyways, so yeah. That's that. Let's go into the third thing now. Let's go into antipode. Okay, this is very important to know. You got to know where the antipodes are for your area. So if you're in the Philippines, your antipode is going to be South America. Anywhere from Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, French Guyana, those areas. So any quakes that start hitting in these areas, sometimes those P waves, they'll travel they'll go through the crust of the earth, and they'll go through all three of those, you know, liquid, solid, and gas. They'll go through all of those. That energy has to go up. It has to be released. So where does it go? Okay, let's say we start seeing big like earthquakes in these areas here. You see 5s, let's see, 4 5s and higher. If it hits these areas right here, the antipode is going to be the Philippines. So then the Philippines may start getting 4s, 5s, you know, 4, 5, 6s, or, you know, something like that. So that's why we say, watch the transfer of energy, watch the antipodes. You know, we put out the TEC data, we put out the blot echo data. This is all important. It's all connected to the solar cycle. Okay, the solar cycle is what sends down the solar energy every time we have a coronal hole. It connects magnetically with our planet, and it sends that energy down. And then those particles, you know, they get bounced off from our shield, but since our shield is weakening, then we're getting more and more energy penetrating the ionosphere, okay? So that's an issue. And so the earthquakes and stuff have to work harder. The volcanoes have to work harder to release that energy, okay? Sometimes that's not enough, though. So this is where we're at right now. We're getting tons of cosmic rays hitting the Earth. We're getting tons of solar energy hitting the Earth. The Earth shield is getting weaker, okay? So we got the pole shift coming in the next, 5 to 7 years. That's going to weaken the magnetic field down to 50%. So we're going to start seeing more cosmic rays. We're going to start seeing more solar energy, and it's going to start penetrating the core of the Earth. And that's going to cause more earthquakes. That's going to cause more extreme lightning, more volcanoes, more energy. Okay, we're seeing more flooding, more hailstorms, more fires. Everything is connected to that cycle, the solar cycle. So that's where we're at right now. So I just wanted to make this long video. I didn't mean it to be long, that long, but it needed to be out there. I need to explain all this to you so you can put it in your head. Oh, now I understand what he's talking about with the transfer of energy, the antipode, the TEC, the blot echo. That's what I'm talking about, guys, and that's what our team works hard to do to get this information out for you. So I'm glad I'm able to get this information out to you guys. It really helped me last year to be able to warn the Philippines. And at first there wasn't that many Filipinos on the page. There was only a handful, and they spread this information, and I didn't know if it was going to take off or not. I just went with it to protect the Philippines, and the earthquakes hit. So I'm glad that everybody's finally waking up and saying, you know what, he is right. He is showing the data. He is backing up that data. It's not that he's a fearmonger. He's not making up this stuff. He's showing us every time, every night, every week, whatever, that it does confirm. It's just the cycle of the earth, guys. It has nothing to do with any kind of fracking. It has nothing to do with any man-made stuff. This is the natural cycle of the earth. That energy has to be released. If it doesn't get released, it keeps building and building and building in the core of the earth, and one of these days there's going to be a global earthquake. The whole earth is going to fill, okay? It says that right in the Bible. So, and it says it in other ancient texts as well. So if you want to argue with the Bible, then you can argue with the Quran, you can argue with the ancient Chinese text or whatever. It's there. It's just natural cycles of the earth and the sun. Everything is connected. Okay, so that's it, guys. Have a good one. God bless.